I want to start by thanking you guys for not only your endorsement at the local level, but at the national level, particularly you, Tom. It was a great shot in the arm. I was just reading I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, the Public Press, which comes out a couple of times a year.
Do some stuff with that.
It was a fascinating article about how, surprise, surprise, money buys elections, not a new concept. But it was kind of neat to see that we were actually outspent last year and we prevailed. And I think it has, far beyond me as a person or elected official, it's just changed the tone and tenor at City Hall. I mean, and it's kind of interesting how elections do matter. I mean, when my first week in office, there was a matter before the board about whether or not we were going to accept $80 million from the state to build a new jail in San Francisco. And it was supposed to be an extremely contentious issue. As a matter of fact, the mayor thought about delaying my appointment by not signing, by delaying certifying the resolution of the election so that I would not be there to vote for it. But,
You don't remember that?
oh yeah, no, that was in the newspaper. But the interesting thing was, it ended up being an 11-0 unanimous vote. And because, you know, nobody wanted to be on the wrong side of history, and so insofar as everybody knew it was going to be a 6-5 vote, all of a sudden it became an 11-0 vote. And there have been many instances like that. I mean, what happened in 2012 when the board unanimously, mistakenly, put into the charter the inclusionary housing rates, knocking them down from 15%, which was anemic, to 12%, where they became unchangeable. And this was, I mean, this was the third day of politics. Nobody was going to touch it. We put that on the ballot by unanimous vote, Proposition C, of June of this year, and boom, all of a sudden we've greatly increased the percentage of affordable housing in San Francisco. And again, I mean, that was, I don't want to say not controversial, but it ended up being put on the ballot by a unanimous vote, and that would not have happened had the board dynamic not shifted. I think the District 3 race was, in some ways, a citywide race, even though it was in 1/11 of the city. Organizations and individuals from all around the city came because they wanted their board of supervisors back, which had kind of lost its way, ceased being the check and balance that the legislative branch fundamentally is supposed to be, was not asking the tough questions, was not making courageous stands, with the exception of a handful of individuals. And I think the fact that the board composition has changed has allowed a lot of those supervisors to be who they want to be. And now our imperative is to hold on to that dynamic come November, and obviously you guys will go through your own process and figure out how that works and who those individuals are, as well as the set, albeit extraordinarily long, of ballot propositions, which I think in many ways are manifestations of political behavior and special interests that have to be checked. If you look at the behavior of one industry in particular expressed by and through the San Francisco Board of Realtors, which up until recently had the controlling majority of the San Francisco Democratic County Central Committee. That thankfully also changed in June. They invested incredible sums of money in that June race as the Board of Realtors. They invested incredible sums of money in independent expenditures in the District 3 race last year. And this year are, how should I say, uncowed. They are now putting two measures on the ballot, Propositions P and U, which I think are some of the most ruinous public policy that do not belong on the ballot. These are things that, to the extent that they are policy areas that need adjustment, should be done at the legislative level of government, where they can be adjusted and tweaked and what have you. But I think it is time for all of us sentient, independent people to send a message to the Board of Realtors that their little spree is coming to an end. And I would love to work with you and anybody else in bringing Propositions P and U to their timely end, demise.